just bedlam. Um, uh, People trying to communicate, people trying to reach people. And if you didn't have a satellite phone on the coast, there wasn't any reaching you. One of my favorite stories, and I come at this from a Haley Barber perspective.
Sure.
So forgive me. But was Marcia, the First Lady. Marcia was adamant that she was going to be on the coast as soon as the first responders. And so she went the night before to Hattiesburg and was there with state troopers and other first responders. And as soon as they got the green light to go down after the storm made landfall that Monday morning, I think about 8 o'clock, she was right down there. And I will say Marcia deserves a lot of credit for being below the radar, but on the coast. I think she was on the coast like 55 out of the first 60 days after the storm. And she wasn't out there like making public speeches. She was going to little communities that were off the beaten path and taking supplies. And then that evening, she's reporting to the governor, this is what you need to know.
I was going to ask
the people that need things. And Haley, you better get it done. And so Haley's taking notes, basically in the bed to give to his staff the next morning, relaying what Marcia has learned on the ground.
So in a lot of ways, she was his eyes and ears. He obviously had to be in Jackson, kind of in a command center and overseeing response and making sure that the resources were going where they were supposed to. It was going to be impossible for him to do that job from the coast. And so
Yeah.
You trust your wife more than anything, and that's your aunt, and you had a front row seat to watch it.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I'm proud of both of them, but Haley gets a lot of credit, and he deserves a lot of credit. I mean, Haley really led after Katrina, and I think the Lord had him there for a reason. In many ways, his career, oddly, as a lobbyist, helped prepare him to do the things that needed to be done to make sure that the coast could rebuild and come back better and stronger than ever. But I'm proud of both of them. They did great things, but in those early days, Richard, I mean, people are trying to survive. They're trying to figure out where can I get a meal? Where can I get water? Where can I get any kind of supplies? And so there is that immediate focus on that. But one of the things Haley did very early on is he talked to Jeb Bush, and the governor of Florida at the time, who had just been through a couple of hurricanes, and Jeb shared a lot of ideas with Haley, and one of which led to this private commission that Haley put together. He picked up the phone and called Jim Barksdale, one of the most effective and accomplished CEOs in the country,
right,
who just happened to live in Jackson, Mississippi, and was retired, and who had been Ronnie Musgrove's biggest financial supporter when Haley took on Musgrove. But nevertheless, Haley picked up the phone and called Jim Barksdale and said, I would like you to chair this recovery commission, whatever we're going to call it. And Barksdale said yes. And what that did, Haley and the government folks were really focused on recovery, the immediate recovery. How do we take care of people? Think first responder kind of reaction. And this private group commission that Jim Barksdale would chair, that Haley asked me to be the executive director for, kind of the day-to-day guy. It was focused on long-term recovery. How do we build back safer? How do we build back better? I'll say, more beautifully. How do we maximize what in many ways was a clean slate on the coast? Because anybody that went to the coast right after Katrina, you were lost. There were no landmarks. You weren't quite sure, am I in Biloxi or am I in Gulfport?